Let's talk about Starachi. I got a freaking bug. Get out of here, bug. Let's talk about Starachi. How did these coaches let this swing? Why did they let it swing through? Why did they let it get to this point? A lot of times we're gonna click on the link too. A lot of times these high level athletes, they got issues. They not in the right mental space, and we already talked about it. But a lot of these wrestlers got more concussions than anything. Not to say that's an excuse. Can't blame Bo for leaving the Lion Wrestling Club, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, if this is true. Kale might have some stuff on his hands. Not a good look, especially at Penn State, of all places. You'd think they would be hyper vigilant with any of these type of things. Yeah, no kidding. Last thing they need is Paterno Sandusky 2.0. If Kel knew anything about the assaults on women, he should be held accountable. The locker room stuff seems as bad as what Pat Fitzgerald was fired for, even though he didn't have direct knowledge of it. Says, have you looked at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club roster? I don't think they ever signed Carter. Looks like they were hoping to graduate him out before a scandal. Well, they still swept that under the rug. Same thing in jiu-jitsu, they sweep it under the rug. Ship the dude that's been abusing people. Allegedly. Not in this case. I'm just saying a different example. They ship the dude that's doing all the dirt to another place, another country, another team. Says he's got stuff on his hands for sure with this one. It's easy to say it now that it's out. I didn't have a good feeling about Starachi's character. He seemed like a douche all the time, like one of those that has an ego bigger than one can fully take in. That's why he's so good at wrestling. Which comes with his issues as we see now. My total respect for Bo for going on record against his former teammate takes balls, and nobody would do this unless the stuff was really bad. It says, where is the holy rebuking child of Christ, Aaron Brooks, when he is needed most? Picking a fight with anyone, saying Allah, probably. Yep. Aaron Brooks stay in trouble too. Which is hilarious. Yeah, I'm not going to read that part. It sounds like Starachi had beef with Bo, tried to bully him. That shouldn't be allowed either. This is a professional program. There's NIL money on the line. You can't have these dudes bullying each other. It says guys like Bo don't get bullied. Exposed the program when Sanderson protected Carter. This all sounds legit and frankly on brand for Starachi based on how he carries himself. This is the type of stuff Kale should be most concerned about. Not DT at Oklahoma State, not Iowa rebuilding their program, not who the next five top recruit is. Those are on the mat worries, and he has proven that those are covered. What could threaten his dynasty? Well, the dynasty's already threatened. The dynasty's already been threatened. What could threaten his dynasty are off the mat incidents, and I have to say for two reasons. There's just a moral responsibility you have when you've chosen to coach young men at this level. You made those recruiting visits and sat with the parents in their living room and told them how you develop their kids on and off the mats. That spiel will get harder to sell if more stuff like this comes out. It might already be out of control already, bro. I think it is out of control. But even more so, too, taking ethics out of the equation, don't you think every other wrestling program would love to see Kale retire? I mean, if you were Tom Ryan, wouldn't it get old seeing PSU win the Big Tens and NCAAs over and over and over? You've realized you can't beat them on the mat, but what if you heard some rumors of Kale covered up? Well, nah, don't say that part. He used to, I don't know what they're saying there. So it wouldn't be the first time Penn State had a dynasty fall apart from a non-sports related incident. It says someone says Kel deserves to be fired if Bo and other teammates went to him about this and he did nothing. I'm a Penn State fan and I firmly believe that, but I feel like your examples are a false equivalency. Ed Roof got a DUI in college. Is that wrong? Of course it is, but plenty of athletes get them and don't get kicked off. I think you have to make a decision based on the kid in the room there. As far as Andrew Long is concerned, he was kicked out of the program. PSU brought him in for 1 year, and he was immediately let go. I don't know who that guy is. What's his name? Andrew Long. It sounds familiar, though. After taking third for some egregious stuff. I mean, Kill probably made the right call in these situations. As far as Alton, I don't know which one or what you're referring to. What up, Jason Whitfield? He says, as much as Craig and Gordon don't like each other, they do like money. So it would not surprise me if they had a deal with each other to wait until UFC was desperate, then charge them a huge price. I mean, that makes sense. They probably saw the show was crap. If you think the show's going to be crap, they saw the UFC belt. They're like, man, I'm going to wait till they give me some more money. And that's the benefit of having, having power or having, some power on your side. Because, Craig and Gordo, they got money already. They got the clout. They're the best in the sport. They ain't got to take shit from nobody. Mikey got a boss. He got to deal with Moneyberg. He got to deal with Dana White. He got to deal with Claudia. She don't even know nothing about jiu-jitsu. I don't care if she got her black belt. That doesn't mean she knows about the sport. As far as I'm concerned, she's an MMA black belt. But you gotta. Not every opportunity is a great opportunity. Those guys turned it down. But Mikey, I feel like Mikey takes whatever. He'll take whatever seems like the best deal right then and there. But he doesn't. Mikey could have made more money doing seminars. Okay, he might have to leave Vegas a little bit. All right, fine. Or he could open up a school. He would make more money opening up a school in Vegas than if this UFC stuff. It might take a little bit longer, but that's more guaranteed money than this UFC. This UFC might get canceled next year. There ain't no guarantee they're gonna do UFC BJJ in 2026. They might. Maybe he got complacent. I remember Bubba Jenkins and Nick Soriano were mildly out of line and didn't play with the same deck of cards as Kale and his staff, and they didn't last a year under them and transferred. I don't remember. Yeah. Since Iowa is a dead program, we are never going to be relevant again, sadly. Too far gone at this point. You got to get rid of the Brands brothers. They killed Iowa. John Jones vibes. Yep. He need to go to MMA. So yeah, not looking good for the wrestling community. Someone says, this isn't cancel culture, it's consequence culture, and Curtis Rachi lit the match himself. Time's up. Is this the final tipping point for fans to stop pretending Curtis Rachi is just a confident champion and start calling him what he is? A walking, talking 10-alarm dumpster fire with a gold medal and a god complex? This isn't about hating on his success. The man is a 5-time NCAA champion. No one is denying what he's done on the mat, but off the mat, he's left a trail of red flags so big you'd think they were handed out with his singlets. So to review, multiple women have accused him of SA. One said I can't say that word. One said he did some stuff to her. Not good. Not good. He allegedly took photos. Ooh, He allegedly took some photos of his own teammates in the shower and shared them. That's terrible. That is terrible. I ain't defending Kel Sanderson, Penn State, or Starachi. Penetration State University. Penetration State College. I ain't defending Penetration State College. They came straight from Bo Bartlett. That came straight from Bo Bartlett, who has zero reason to lie and everything to lose by speaking up. He was under investigation for theft and somehow couldn't be located by police for months. Penn State Athletic Department suddenly had no idea where their star was training. Yeah. Um, Saddest part, in my opinion, is that wrestling is supposed to be built on discipline, respect, and brotherhood. At least they pretend to have that stuff. In jiu-jitsu, we don't pretend anything. We don't got nothing in jiu-jitsu. We over here, every man for themselves, don't give back, charge as much money as possible. Bootleg to Dana, Daddy Dana. Sell out your friends. At least wrestling got some morals and discipline. Starachi has spit on all of that. He made a mockery of the sport while people around him either stayed silent or let it slide because of his talent. Until Bo blew the whistle, and rightfully so. Being elite at wrestling doesn't give you a free pass to humiliate teammates, hurt women, and dodge accountability. Yeah, that's not good, man. And Sanderson at best turned a blind eye and worse covered it up for as long as possible. Really puts a black eye on his coaching legacy and the entire program. If you wanted to sway every top recruit to OSU, this is one of the best ways to do it. Yeah. You know, you ain't gonna mess around on David Taylor or JB. You know the way they be posting. They're gonna get you out of that program quick. They're gonna report you themselves. Says David Taylor is friends with Carter Sarachi and trained with him frequently in Penn State. Well, I guess David Taylor isn't best friends with Carter Sarachi. People thinking Oklahoma State is better just because it's not Penn State need to realize, one, there is a lot of Penn State at Oklahoma, and two, a lot of top teams might be in the same boat if they had the chance. Yeah, Carter Sarachi basically called David Taylor a greedy traitor for taking the OSU job. I mean, shoot, screw you, bro. That was the best decision of his life. That's basically like hitting the lottery. Don't think they are close at all. It says David Taylor is not friends with Starachi. I imagine Starachi is tied with Nickel, who hates David Taylor. He may not be as vocal about it. I mean, the fact that Starachi and Nickel are friends, that tells me everything I need to know. He may not be as vocal about it, but as he is about JB. But make no mistake, they aren't friends. I knew Penn State was toxic when the people were yelling at JB out there. Unfortunately, PSU, Penetration State University, State College, they had a fair bit of infighting the past 5 years. They've just kept it private until about the past 16 months. I've always said if Nickel hadn't come from or been around PSU, he'd be a pariah within the wrestling community, when he already kind of is, but on a much greater degree.
Cale Sanderson, he didn't throw a chair, but he slips on the sweat. Taylor can't get a footing on the mat.
Jaden,
and holy smokes! Holy smokes! Jaden Cox! Unbelievable finish for the Olympic
and there goes
medalist.
David Taylor. Is he going to come back? And wow! David Taylor kicks the brick. Who threw a chair?
Cale Sanderson, he didn't throw a chair, but he set a chair up there. David's pointing at the officials. Unhappy with the finish here.
DT got a yellow card. Unbelievable finish here. What the heck is going on? Jaden Cox.
Well, I didn't see anything. Since Cale forces the Jesus talk, I know a number one recruited high schooler from about 10 years ago that was the best in the nation, but got turned down by Cale because he wasn't religious. Says, horrible news. Penn State can't stay out of their own way, it seems. Just be a good coach and handle your team. Covering it up will ruin his legacy. Says, the sport continues to put winning ahead of all things. Sounds like jiu-jitsu. Ohio State and Coach Jordan was guilty of this and even got elected to Congress with wrestlers having killed themselves in the wake of that scandal. It seems worse when it's cute gymnasts and not tough wrestlers, but power dynamics and assault are all the same in SA. And it sure sounds like he was SAing his teammates. I guess you're talking about Carter. When mad. Sexually, SA minors and being abusive to the team both violently, mentally, and emotionally, but hey, they won the title. Says the football stuff was enough. How hard is it to do the right thing despite success? Well, you guys, we only reward success, so any means necessary. People want to be successful. I'm surprised how many people are surprised that Carter is a jerk, a shitty person. He's already acts like it in public. What makes you think he ain't like that in private? Kelly needs to be fired and out of coaching if he knew of this and help cover it up and turn a blind eye. What do you guys think? You think they should have fired Kel for knowing? Well, yeah, for sure. If you know this stuff going on and you didn't say nothing, you're complicit. At some point, athletes need to realize that their game does not allow them to act in any manner that they choose. If any of this is true, Carter is done. This could be really bad for Sanderson as well. Of course, if he was from Ohio, they would elect him to Congress. Sounds like he gives lip service to the things like this, at least as far as it relates to Carter. You have to wonder what other things he's turning a blind eye to. So yeah, a lot of issues, man. Penn State, a lot of issues. We basically just read the cliff notes earlier. That's the aforementioned person over there. Says the Daily Collegian obtained text confirming that the Penn State Penetration State University Police and Public Safety was investigating an incident regarding a break-in and theft of Bartlett's locker in the Lorenzo Wrestling Center last December, when Bartlett believes he was an act of retaliation by Starachi. In late 2024, Bartlett alleged that they were made aware of sexual assault allegations against Starachi. Sydney said this wasn't the first she'd heard of it. Jane, a woman who requested an anonymity due to concerns about unwanted attention, told the Collegian Starachi first began pursuing her via Instagram direct messages in 2023 when she was 17 and Starachi was 22. She says Starachi invited her to his home and the sauna multiple times, knowing her age. I'm doing this in an attempt to stop my assailant from attacking more young girls. After arriving for her freshman year at Penn State, she accepted Starachi's invite. Oh no, why did she go to the gym? These girls, bro. These young people, not just the girls, young people. You got to make better decisions, people. I'm not victim blaming, but she walked into the lion's den. She literally walked in. I'm not victim blaming. Don't come after me. People be attacking me. I'm reading the story. They attacking me. Go attack Carter Starachi. I didn't do nothing like this. I'm over here in the basement. She says after arriving at Penn State, she went to the gym. Maybe she was a wrestler, where he met her at night alone or with a training partner present. She says Starachi allowed her into the wrestling team's locker room and sauna on multiple occasions. He had groomed me to feel comfortable with him, Jane said. The whole experience felt extremely manipulating. In the fall semester, she visited Starachi's home after he invited her to watch a movie where she alleges Starachi did some stuff to her against her will. Twice. She said the last time she saw him after that night was when she asked him to purchase her an emergency contraceptive pill the next morning. Oof. I didn't do all the things I should have done to press charges against him because I was young and really scared, she said. I didn't want to accept what happened. After processing the experience, she said she began confiding in her friends and others who had similar stories about Starachi. Mutual connections eventually brought her stories to the Bartletts. We got to make better decisions. I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying we got to make better decisions. Our young people. The conversations was the last straw for Sydney, who informed Starachi's girlfriend of the stories she had heard by December. I called her and told her everything I knew and that I didn't know if it was true, but I felt she should know. After the allegations became as severe as they did, I knew I had to at least let her know. Sydney said she responded by thanking her and expressing a desire to end her relationship with Starachi. A few days later, Bo said he entered the locker room at the LWC on December 4th to find his locker room had been broken into and over $1,000 of his property, including a watch and shoes, was missing. Bo reached out to his teammates asking if they had seen his stuff, and they told him multiple they told him about multiple occasions of Sorachi stealing from their lockers in the past. Former teammates shared examples of items they claimed were taken by Sorachi, including a pair of custom shoes that were allegedly found in Sorachi's possession while he denied taking them and leaving with teammate scooters. It felt like an act of retaliation, Bo said. Bo said he spoke to multiple coaches who felt didn't understand the situation when he was seeking an answer to who broke into his locker. They kept asking if I had found my stuff, but none of them questioned who took it, Bo said. One exact quote I remember was, "Oh, you're really upset about this." After speaking to Penn State wrestling coach Cael Sanderson, Bo decided to open a Penn State Penetration State Police investigation into his lost items on December 6th. While Sanderson stated the program would support whatever decision Bartlett made to investigate the incident, Bo said it felt to him more like a public relations comment than a real care. According to text messages obtained by the Collegian, investigators pulled LWC footage and found that only 2 men had entered the locker room between the time Bartlett last saw his missing items, Sorachi and Tyler Kasek, who entered the room simultaneously. Since the footage didn't show the missing items in Sorachi's hands, the investigators required an admissions of guilt from Sorachi or Kasek to initiate actions against them. Investigators spoke with Kasek, but told Bo they didn't receive any useful information from the conversation. Penn State police were unable to contact Sorachi over the course of nearly 6 months investigation. I mean, go to the wrestling room. Bo said since they couldn't get an admission of guilt from Sorachi, the case was closed and referred to student conduct. Jacqueline Sheeter, a public information officer, confirmed UPPS investigated a theft allegation through their criminal investigations unit. Shader said the investigation was closed on June 4th. Since Bartlett went public with their frustrations, the Bartletts, with Sorachi, former teammates of Sorachi and Penn students have come forward with stories of their own uncomfortable interactions with the wrestler. Everyone who spoke with the Collegian echoed fear in having their names public while speaking about Sorachi. He is intimidating, and things he would do against people who are against him are very concerning and disgusting. Ava, a Penn State sophomore who requested an anonymity, said. Bo and Mark, a former teammate who requested anonymity due to fear of retaliation, alleged Sorachi made non-consensual explicit photos of them in the Nittany Lions locker rooms. Bo said the photos were reported to Sanderson along with the theft, but nothing came from it from the coach. Uh-oh, Cael, what you doing, Cael? I walked out of the shower to a snapshot from Sorachi of me naked, Bo said. The team had a Snapchat group that he filled with those kinds of pictures of teammates. Bo and Mark also relayed physical misconduct in the wrestling room by Sorachi, both on and off the mats. In practice, Bo and Mark said Sorachi would constantly grab their... Oh, God. Uh-oh. This is not for young viewers, guys. Viewer discretion advised. He would grab their no-nos and place his fingers into their backsides during practices. He was checking the oil, guys. Mark also said Sorachi became frustrated during a training match and strongly struck his head with his knee. Bo and Mark and another teammate all told the Collegian that Sorachi continued to touch other wrestlers inappropriately in the training room, sometimes in front of Sanderson. They also reported knowledge of rumors of Sorachi's misconduct and inappropriate interactions with minors. Rumors about misconduct by Sorachi have floated around Penn State for the past few years. He's been there for a long time. Routinely arising on the anonymous social media app Yik Yak. Ava said she met Sorachi through mutual friends during her freshman year in 2023. She said she was with a group of friends, all ages 16 and 17, while Sorachi sent explicit images to them. She later stated that while she was at Sorachi's house for a friendly visit, he SA'd her as she attempted to leave. As I was leaving, he pushed his body up against mine and proceeded to touch me inappropriately without saying anything, she said. I have kept quiet about these situations out of fear. I would be seen as just some random girl trying to ruin his career, which unfortunately he seems to be doing himself. Sorachi remained training with the team in State College as he prepared for the Final X match on June 14th. A Penn State spokesperson said they are not aware of Sorachi's training plans, but he may not be signed to Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. The Collegian also asked the spokesperson if Penn State Athletics had any knowledge of the allegations made by the former wrestlers, but did not receive an answer to the question. Bo announced his plan is to leave State College to join New York City Regional Training Center, NJRTC, or NYCRTC, rather than staying at the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. RTC serve as training clubs for wrestlers after their academic careers and usually train alongside the NCAA teams they're associated with. While the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club was trying to keep Bo in Happy Valley, staff and coaches told him Sorachi will not be signed to the club, citing character issues. It's a certain pervertedness that is just in every aspect of Sorachi's life, Bo said. Whether it's with women outside the mat or on the mats with his teammates, it's a problem. So, pretty bad, guys. Pretty bad look over there. Pretty bad look.